Emily Parker had always been known as the friendly one in her circle, the person who made sure everyone else felt included, who smiled through awkward moments, and who said, yes, even when she didn't really want to. At 25, she was working at a local marketing agency in Portland, Oregon, where she lived alone in a small apartment with plants on every windowsill and a habit of overthinking everything before bed. Her friends, Megan and Sarah, often teased her for being too nice. "You've got to learn to say no once in a while," Megan would tell her. Emily would laugh it off, but deep down, she knew Megan was right. She often said yes to favors, invitations, and even work tasks that left her exhausted. Still, she believed kindness meant always agreeing. That Saturday, Megan invited her to a party hosted by a colleague named Jason. It wasn't supposed to be a big event, just a small get-together with mutual friends and coworkers. Emily hesitated, but Megan insisted it would be fun. "Come on, Em, you need a break. You work too much," she said. That evening, Emily stood before her mirror in her favorite soft blue dress, brushing her brown hair into loose waves. Her hazel eyes reflected both excitement and a touch of nerves. She wasn't much of a party person, but she told herself this time would be different. She'd relax, meet new people, and maybe even let loose a little. The house was glowing with warm yellow lights when she arrived. Music hummed softly in the background, and laughter floated through the air. The smell of pizza and sweet punch filled the room. Emily smiled politely at people she didn't know and found Sarah and Megan near the snack table. They hugged, chatting about work and life. For the first hour, everything felt lighthearted. She met Jason, the host, a friendly guy with an easy smile who seemed to know how to make everyone feel at ease. Emily enjoyed the casual conversations and the laughter that bounced off the walls. But as the night went on, the tone shifted. A few guests started teasing each other, and someone suggested a party game that made Emily uncomfortable. It wasn't dangerous or inappropriate, but it crossed a line she wasn't comfortable with. Her friends noticed her hesitation. Megan gave her a little nudge and whispered, "It's fine, Em. Just go along with it." But something inside Emily hesitated. She didn't want to go along just to please others. Her chest tightened as she felt the familiar pull between not wanting to disappoint anyone and wanting to stand up for herself. When it was her turn in the game, the suggestion directed at her made her feel uneasy. Everyone laughed, waiting for her reaction. Emily's heart raced. In that moment, she remembered all the times she'd said yes when she wanted to say no, when she took on too many projects at work, stayed late when she was exhausted, or went to events that drained her energy. She looked up and, for the first time in a long time, found her voice steady and clear. "No," she said simply. Not harshly, not apologetically, just firmly and calmly. The laughter faded for a second. Then Jason smiled gently and nodded. "Hey, that's totally okay," he said. It was a small moment, but for Emily, it felt monumental. She'd said no without guilt, without over-explaining, without needing to make excuses. She felt lighter, freer, and oddly proud. A few minutes later, Megan pulled her aside. "You okay?" she asked. Emily smiled. "Yeah, actually, I'm better than okay." They went outside for some air, standing under the string lights that glowed softly against the night sky. Sarah joined them, sipping from a cup of soda. "You know," Sarah said, "I really admire you for saying no. I wish I could do that more often." Emily laughed softly. "It wasn't easy, but I think it's something I need to start doing more." As they talked, the cool breeze brushed her face, and she felt a calmness she hadn't known in years. It wasn't just about refusing a game, it was about reclaiming her voice. Later, as she drove home, she replayed the night in her head. The laughter, the moment of silence, the supportive smiles afterward. She realized that setting a boundary didn't make her unkind. It made her strong. The next morning, she sat by her apartment window with a cup of tea and opened her journal. The sunlight painted her desk in warm gold as she wrote. "Greater than, last night I said no. And for once, I didn't feel guilty." Maybe this is what courage really looks like, not in grand gestures, but in quiet moments when you choose yourself. Over the following weeks, Emily noticed subtle changes in her life. She spoke up more in meetings. When her manager asked her to take on an extra project, she assessed her workload and respectfully declined. Surprisingly, her boss appreciated her honesty. "I like that you know your limits," he said. Her relationships improved too. Megan later confessed, "You made me think about how often I say yes to things I don't want. You kind of inspired me." It struck Emily how one small act of courage had rippled outward. Her no had not only protected her but encouraged others to respect their own boundaries. Months later, when Jason hosted another gathering, Emily went again, not because she felt obligated, but because she genuinely wanted to. When people joked or made suggestions, she laughed, but she also knew she could say no if something didn't feel right. She'd learned that boundaries weren't walls, they were bridges that helped her connect more authentically with others. And as she walked home under the city lights that evening, she realized that sometimes, the smallest word could create the biggest change. Emily's story is a reminder that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, gentle, and spoken in one simple word: no. And that one word can change everything.